Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is, Thursday, the 21st of December 2017. I'm so glad to be talking to you today about some knitting, some yarn, some finished objects. If you're joining us for the very first time, thank you so much for giving my podcast a try. And if you're coming back, I really appreciate those of you who are regular viewers of this podcast. And yeah, welcome back. My voice is going a little bit funny. I don't really know why. Anyways, today is going to be my last episode before Christmas. I am really excited. I have a ton of knitting to talk to you guys about. So I will have some finished objects, some works in progress, although not very many. Quite a bit of stash enhancement. So much for not buying any yarn before Christmas. And then I will talk about life in general at the end. I won't be doing any commercial yarn reviews today just because I feel like we have enough stuff to talk about already. So we'll just continue that another time. Am I out of focus? Let's see. I am recording this during the day, which usually would mean that I wouldn't need artificial lighting, but it is so dark outside. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's already very gloomy and dark-ish, so I have put on some artificial light as well, and I'm just hoping it'll get us through this episode. So first of all, administrative stuff. We have a Ravelry group on Ravelry called the Happy Knitting Podcast Group. Join us over there if you want to. I will post some kind of show notes over there, and we have all the knit-alongs, we have an introductions thread, and just all kinds of really fun threads to check out, including one for coupon codes, one for shameless self-promotion if you are a maker, designer, dyer, whatever. So I would love to see you there. At the moment we are running a knit-along, which is the 2017 edition of the Challenge Cal. I won't go into details about it. You will find everything in the Ravelry group in the chatter thread, and that was going to end on December 15th, but I have decided to prolong until December 31st. So please keep entering your finished objects and show us your works in progress. I have really been enjoying running this knit along with you guys. So let's jump into finished objects. Should we start with the elephant in the room? I am wearing a finished garment, which doesn't happen very often, does it? And this is the Ombre cardigan. It is spelled E-M-B-R-U-N-S. It is by a French designer whose name I don't remember. I'm really sorry about that. And it is kind of loosely based on that design because I didn't get along with the pattern at all, which I've talked about in the past, so I won't go into the details of that. But safe to say, I started with that pattern and then kind of made up my own thing when it came to sleeves and the body. But the general idea is still the same. I have knitted out of John Irwin Textiles Knit by Numbers in their DK weight yarn. It's a merino yarn, or it's 100% wool yarn. I'm not sure if it's a merino. It is very soft anyways. I used 4 skeins of DK weight yarn. I was worried that that wouldn't be enough, but it turns out it was enough. This is about all I have left over, which is perfect because I have another sweater's quantity of 4 skeins of DK weight yarn in my stash. So now I know that that is enough for me to make a sweater. So yeah, I knit this on 3.5mm needles and I'm going to try to show you. It is an open front cardigan, which you could theoretically close like with a shawl pin, or you could put a button or something on it, but I think I'm just going to wear it open. I did full length sleeves, which I think the pattern doesn't include. I just kept on knitting my own sleeves until I thought they fit well. And you can see it's kind of like, it's definitely longer at the back, which I really like. I think it hits me at the perfect place, although I'm not sure how much you can see of that right now. This is very difficult. And then it just kind of drapes open at the front. I personally think this style is going to be super wearable. I tried to knit something that would be somewhat wearable for work or sort of businessy situations as well. If you wear like a nice blouse or something underneath. And yeah, it's basically come out exactly as I wanted it to. I'm super happy with it. I just blocked it, so I haven't even woven in my ends. I just cut off a sneaky end at the top, at the bottom for this podcast. All the other ends are still attached. So that needs to be done. But yeah, I am very, very happy with this cardigan. I think I'm going to wear it a ton and I'm super excited about it. Moving on. I have finished not one, not two, but 3 pairs of socks. So let's start at the top of the stack. The first pair of socks I finished are my Christmas socks. Last time I showed them to you, I think I was about to put in the heel, or maybe not even that. I took them with me when we went on a little weekend trip last weekend, and I decided to just finish them very quickly. So the yarn, I know I have a ball band somewhere. It's a Regia Anne and Carlos colorway. I don't think it's supposed to be a Christmas colorway, but it's definitely Christmas colors. There we go. This is Regia Design Line colorway number 3760. And yeah, I think these are super, super fun. I was considering gifting them to my sister, but they were a little bit too big for her, so they're going to be my Christmas socks. I'm going to be wearing them on Christmas Eve, and I'm very, very excited about them. I knit these on 2.25 millimeter needles on a US size 1 needle, 64 stitches, just a plain vanilla sock with a fish lips kiss heel. So that's those. Very, very happy about these, and they have been in my stash for quite a while, so I'm happy to be knitting with this yarn. My next pair of finished socks is Kai's Christmas present. These socks, I actually told you something wrong about them last week. I am knitting these on 2.5 millimeter needles, which is a US 1.5, which I never do, but this yarn is sort of very thick, so I decided to just go up a needle size and drop down 4 stitches. So I knit them on 64 stitches. Usually I would do 68 for him. And these are plain vanilla socks with crazy pooling. I have 2 of them as well. The yarn is by a German dyer who is called Kunis Wolle, and this is the Sundowner colorway, which Kai picked, and I think it's the absolute perfect colorway for Kai. These are exactly sort of the socks that he loves. He loves the crazy pooling, and these are definitely crazy. They are also super cozy because it's in her 80/20 merino nylon base. So I hope that he will love them, but I'm pretty sure he will, because yes, these are just so very, very much Kai's style when it comes to socks. So I'm very excited about these. My last pair of socks to show you guys is this one. These are socks for me, once again, out of Hedgehog Fibers in the Pesto colorway. It's their normal sock base, which is a 90% merino, 10% nylon base, which I keep talking about how much I love it. And the pattern that I use for these is the Vestigial socks, which is a pattern by Hedgehog Fibers. It's a free pattern which you can find on their website. And this pattern did take me a little bit longer to knit because it's essentially a ribbed sock, but it produces a really, really fun texture. These are super, first of all, these are super stretchy. Like this would be a great pattern for gift socks if you don't exactly know the foot size of the person you're knitting for. And I just think it enhances the yarn really, really nicely. Like, it doesn't take away from the speckles or anything. I think it's a really pretty pattern, and I will definitely be knitting it again. For this one, I also put in a fish lips kiss heel, as with all of my socks. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to be wearing these very soon. Hello. Sorry, the light is getting worse, but I hope you can still kind of see the yarn. I'll try to speed this up, but I really didn't expect to be having lighting problems in the middle of the day. Moving on to works in progress. I have 2 works in progress, although one of them is also almost finished. And you haven't seen this one before, and if you're easily offended, please look away, because I'm going to be showing something. that might be offensive to some of you, and that is the How Cold Is It mittens. This pattern, I think it's by Drunken Girl Designs or Drunk Girl Designs. It's really popular at the moment, and it's a colorwork mitten pattern. This is what the back looks like. And can you see what it says? I know some people don't like this sort of thing. I think it's hilarious. And you know how I've been working on my color work as part of the Challenge Count 2017. I'm really enjoying color work, so I just decided to whip these up. As you can see, they're almost finished because I need to knit one more thumb. I was planning to have these done for the podcast. I finished the mitten last night and I thought I was going to have time to close the thumb this morning, but I didn't. So here we go. I think they're really fun and I really need a pair of mittens now that it's super cold, so I'm planning to finish these today and then I can wear them over Christmas. The yarn that I'm using for these is out of my stash. It is Drops Flora. This was just some stuff that I still had lying around. This is Drops Flora in colorway 17 and 3. It's a fingering weight yarn. It's an alpaca wool blend. I knit my Breathing Space sweater out of this yarn, and I think it's really, really good for color work. It's kind of woolly, but not super scratchy, so yeah. I went down 2 needle sizes for this pattern. I think you're supposed to use a 2.75mm needle, which I don't own. So I was going to go down to a 2.5, but these were occupied because I was knitting Kai socks. So I went with a 2.25mm needle, which is a US size 1. And I was worried that they were going to be too small, but the size actually turned out just fine. So I think some people have said that this pattern is kind of large. So anyways, I have relatively big hands. And you can see that with the 2.25mm needles, the size is pretty much perfect. So I'm very, very happy I did that. And yeah, these are my mittens. So once I finish these today, I will only have one whip on the go, which is crazy. And that whip is a very new one as well. I cast this on last night. And the yarn that I cast on is one that I've been hoarding because it's a very special yarn that was dyed by a friend of mine. She sent this to me ages ago, but it was too special to use, but I'm super happy that now I finally am. She was going to open an Etsy store, but I don't think she has, so if she does, I will definitely let you guys know. But my friend Hazel, she dyed me some MCN yarn. So it's a merino cashmere nylon sock yarn, and she sent me 2 colorways, and this one, it's beautiful and speckly and just everything I love. Like, she asked me what kind of colors I like, and I just said surprise me, and she came up with this one, which she named Candy Crush, which I think is very appropriate. And I finally decided that it is time to cast it on and make something out of it. So I have decided to cast on a pair of socks. I should say I did start a pair of socks, then decided this yarn wanted to be a hat. Ripped out the socks, started a hat, knit the ribbing, and then decided this yarn wants to be socks after all. So that is why I haven't made that much progress, but now I'm finally going with these socks. Because this yarn felt a little bit more plump to me, I decided to only cast on 60 stitches instead of my usual 64. I'm not sure yet if that's a wise decision, but I'm just going to go with it. Anyways, I'm really enjoying it. This is my second ever time knitting with MCN yarn for socks, and the first time was only with leftovers, so this is going to be my first full pair of merino nylon cashmere socks. I'm really curious to see how I like them, but I do think that I can definitely use a pair of luxurious, super cozy cashmere socks for myself, and so I'm really happy with this one, and I actually can't wait to be knitting on these some more today. Talking about knitting, can you believe that I haven't knit a single stitch today? Actually, no, that's not true at all. I just haven't knit at home, but I have knit. So I'm just talking stupid things now. You have to know that I am already past 3 cups of coffee today, and that makes me go all over the place. So that's it for my works in progress. That was fast, wasn't it? So we will move on to acquisitions, of which I have quite a few, and I'm just going to try to go in chronological order of how I got things. So the other day I wasn't even planning to go yarn shopping, which is how every yarn story starts, isn't it? But it turned out that after work I had to go into the city to pick up a stupid recipe from my doctor's office. And I just really couldn't be bothered going all the way into the city after work on the underground. So I figured if I go in the city and all that, I might as well stop at a yarn store. So I went to a yarn store in Munich that I don't go to that often, but I'm liking it every time I go there. It's called Artilea, in case you are in Munich. And I decided to pick up some more yarn for colorwork, since I am definitely on the colorwork train. So I picked up 2 yarn for 2 pairs of colorwork mittens or hats or whatever. The first one I picked up is this combination. I'm really not liking this light. This is called Langyarn's Tema Nuova. It's a superwash merino yarn. It's 118 meters per 50 grams, so it's about a DK weight, I would say. And I just thought this would make a fun pair of colorwork mittens, maybe Selby mittens, maybe a hat. I will definitely find a good use for these, and they were very affordable, so some more colorwork yarn for me. And then I also picked up another commercial yarn that I have been looking at and almost buying for a really, really long time, but somehow never bought it because it's not expensive, but it's not cheap for commercial yarn. But I have been wanting this for ages, and this is also Langyarns. It's their Magic Tweed, which is a 62% virgin wool, 18% nylon, 10% viscose, and 10% acrylic yarn. But I don't know why, but I always really, really like this yarn when I see it. So I decided to pick up 2 balls. These are also 50-gram balls. So again, these could be colorwork mittens. They could be a hat. I just decided to pick them up for my stash. And yeah, very, very happy with these. I know I have quite a lot of indie dyed yarn, but for colorwork, I actually really like using sort of more of these more woolly, just one-colored yarns, for lack of a better word. So I'm very happy I stocked up on that. Then, the weekend after, I was visiting my family last weekend, and we have a tradition to go to the Christmas market, and in my town at the Christmas markets there's actually a yarn stall. So it's somehow turned into the tradition that I go there with my sisters and they each pick a ball of yarn and I knit them socks out of it. So when we went this year, my youngest sister, she picked a ball of Regia, Anne and Carlos. That's already in my stash, so that's already ready to go. And Pauline, the older one, she picked this ball, which is also Regia, Anne and Carlos in their perfect range. And if you watch podcasts, I'm sure you have seen this one because I think this has been quite popular. I know quite a few podcasters and Instagram people who have knit this colorway. So I was very happy when she chose this because I think this is going to be a super fun knit. I'm very excited to be knitting these for her and they do really suit her as well. So this is Anne and Carlos Perfect in color number 9093. So we picked this up at the Christmas markets. Then this is going on for a while. Quite a few weeks ago, I actually ordered some yarn on Etsy from a new to me dyer who had a sale going at the time, and that is Viking Yarns. They are based in the UK. And I picked up 2 skeins of yarn. They do a lot of dye-to-order yarn, which I always like, but I'm always too impatient to buy dye-to-order yarn. But they had some in stock, and these are both on the same base, and it's MCN sock, so it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And this one is called Pier View, but for me somehow this is very Christmassy, so or wintry at least, so maybe that might be my Christmas cast on. I'm not quite sure. And then this one I really, really love. It's called Precious Metal, and it's this sort of like brown and white, or beige and white, but then it has these crazy pink speckles going through it, or like purple pink colors, and I just think that's a really cool colorway and a combination that I haven't really seen before. So I just thought that was really cool, and it had to live with me. And I thought for MCN yarn this was actually quite affordable, so yay me, more MCN yarn for me. Maybe that's my new thing. Maybe 2018 will be my MCN year, although that would be an expensive hobby to have. We'll see. Anyways, I really like this yarn. The base feels incredibly soft, and I haven't really seen that yarn around too much, which surprises me because everything they do is really beautiful, so I'll let you know how I like knitting with it. And that was supposed to be all of my yarny purchases, but then this morning I went out with my lovely friend Marion. We just met up this morning for coffee and knitting, and then of course went to my favorite local yarn shop in Munich, which is Die Mercerie. And I wasn't going to buy anything again, but I actually went home with some amazing yarn that I found. The first thing I found in the sales bin was this beautiful skein of Madeline Tosh DK in the Dachshund colorway, and I've actually seen and wanted this before, so I'm super happy that I picked this up. This is going to be probably some kind of textured hat for me. I'm planning to knit this up quite quickly because I need a second hat. But yeah, I love it, and yeah, I'm super excited about this. And that was going to be all that I got. But then we enabled each other, so I picked up 2 more skeins of Tosh Merino Light, which is their, what is it called? Singles yarn, their fingering weight. And I just fell in love with 2 colorways. This one is called Video Baby, and I mean, how beautiful is this one? Isn't it just amazing? I enabled Marion to get one, and then when I looked at hers later, I decided I need one as well. And then I found this one, which is also just incredible. This is colorway Yoko, which I assume is named after Yoko Ono. And it's a little bit more subtle, but the colors in this are just incredible. And I have a lot of really crazy colored sort of singles yarns, and this one is a little bit more muted, and I really, really like it. So I did a bit of a Madeline Tosh haul, but we figured it's been about half a year since we last went to that yarn shop, so if we go crazy every 6 months or so, it's okay. And we also blamed it on Kai, which is a whole different story. But anyways, this is what I picked up this morning. A little bit gluttonous, but I am so happy with this yarn. This might be my favorite haul from Mercerie that I've ever gotten. I am very, very happy with these, and I'm just deciding that these will be my Christmas present to myself. So, justified. And that is it for the yarny content of this show. So now I'm only going to be talking about life in general, which is my segment in which I just share about what's been going on, and I have quite a bit to share this week. And I'm also going to be talking about our Christmas traditions, which apparently I do every year. So if you're only interested in the knitty content, then thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas or whatever you celebrate. Lots of knitting time, and I will see you soon. If you are sticking around, I feel like I haven't done a proper life in general segment for a while. And the reason for that is that some stuff has been in the works for weeks and months, and I haven't really been able to talk about. And I'm very happy to be able to talk about it today with you guys. So I think most of you have noticed or do know that I have been somewhat absent. I have still been somehow active on Instagram, and I have tried to keep recording podcasts, but it's been difficult and I couldn't really share too much about it. I still don't want to share a whole ton, but I'm going to be telling you guys what's going on. And now I'm making it sound more dramatic than it is. I'm really happy to tell you guys that yesterday I had my last ever day at my job. So I have quit my old job and I will be starting a new job, and I'm very, very happy for that. Without sharing too much, because I don't think this is the place to go into detail, I started having trouble at work in about October and tried fixing it, and it's just been very, very stressful, followed by a time when I was working full-time, while also, of course, trying to find a new job and having meetings and interviews and trying to sort stuff out. And it's just been really, really difficult. Like, just time-wise, it was hard to manage, and then of course the insecurities of changing jobs and what does it mean and where am I going to go and all that. I'm sure all of you have done this before. I'm not the first person to do this, but I am so happy now. I quit my job in the end of November, and then had about 3 more weeks to work. So my last day, like I said, was yesterday. And I have a new job starting in the middle of January, which is perfect because it means I can celebrate Christmas, visit family, and just have a little bit of time of holiday time with my lovely boyfriend Kai. So we have about 3.5 weeks off. Although now that seems like a very short time considering all the things I want to do in that time. But yeah, I'm just repeating myself, but I'm super happy about making the step. I think many times I was close to not making that step. I was very much ready to just sort of settle and accept that things aren't perfect, but what are you going to do about it? Like, I guess I just kind of felt a little bit stuck, and I'm really glad for Kai because he kept kicking me in the butt and not letting me accept everything, and I'm actually very happy about that, because it feels like a lot of times you can't really change anything, but really you can. And that's about all I'm going to say. If you do feel stuck somewhere where you don't think it's right, where it doesn't work, if it's not making you happy, and this job wasn't, in some ways it was okay, it was not like the worst thing in the world, but there were just some aspects that were continually dragging me down, and every weekend I would have Monday blues. And I kind of decided for myself as well that that's not really how I want to be living my life, because you spend so much time at work, and therefore it should be something that works for you. I mean, no job is ever 100%, I think, but like I said, I think I took the right step. Of course it was hard and it was weird having my last day yesterday, but fingers crossed I made the right choice, and I'm really happy about this right now. I'm also happy to be sharing it with you guys because it's just, such an important thing going on in my life, and at the same time having to keep quiet about it was just very stressful. But safe to say, I am very excited for my new job. And I'm also very excited to not have to think about work for a couple of weeks now, and just relaxing and not having to check my emails, not having to check my work phone, and just generally take time off. So that's my happy news. I went home yesterday not really knowing how to feel, because it is obviously a big step, and yeah, but all in all I am very happy. And that's also why, of course, I had a bit of a celebratory yarny and coffee binge this morning, and I'm just looking forward to the holidays so much now. I wasn't really getting into the Christmas spirit, or I don't know, but I think it has to do with the stress that's been going on. So I'm hoping that now, although it is only 3 more days until Christmas, maybe I'll get into the Christmas spirit a little bit more. So the only thing left to talk about is Christmas, because this is the last episode, or at least the last proper episode that I'm going to be posting before Christmas. For this year, we're basically doing the same thing that we tend to do every year, which is, so we live in Munich, which is in the south of Germany, and my parents and my hometown is in Franconia, which is about 2 hours north from here, and then Kai's parents live in the north of Germany. So we do what we call our Germany round trip. So we are going to first visit my family. We're going to go up on the 23rd and stay until the 25th. So the main celebration of Christmas, at least in Germany, or at least in my family, is on Christmas Eve, which is the 24th. So we're going to spend that with my family, my sisters, my grandparents, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to do, of course, the Christmas Eve cast-on, which is a knitting tradition started by Danny of Little Bobbins Knits, where you cast on a special pair of socks for Christmas, or on Christmas Eve. And I've been doing that for about 2 or 3 years now, so that's definitely become a big part of my Christmas tradition. I'm not sure what yarn I'm going to cast on yet. I have a few contenders, but I'm going to be knitting vanilla socks as usual for my personal Christmas Eve cast on, because I tend to then knit, you know, in candlelight when we're sitting around the Christmas tree. So, and possibly having what's it called in English? Christmas punch? I think that's what it's called. It's called alcoholic beverages, let's just say that. So vanilla socks it is for me. And then after Christmas Goose, which we traditionally have on the 25th of December, we're going to drive up to Kai's parents' house. And we're just going to hang out with his family and probably stuff ourselves with more food, because God knows we don't have enough food on Christmas, do we? And because it's quite a long trip by car from where his parents live to where we live, we're probably going to be going back via my parents' house and stop by and see them again. So it's going to be a lot of family, but I'm really looking forward to that. And then afterwards, we're going to be gone almost a week visiting family, and then we will stop by here very quickly, just maybe to record a podcast and throw on some washing, and then we will drive down to Allgäu, which is an area near the Alps. It's about 1.5 hours drive from Munich. And if you've been watching this podcast, you will know this. Kai's parents have a beautiful little apartment there, like a holiday apartment. And so we are really lucky because we get to go there whenever we want really. And since we are both taking off time, we're going to be at least staying there a week, if not even 2. So I'm so excited about that. That's going to be my knitcation for sure. I'm planning to take lots of yarn, lots of knitting, and just sit by the fireplace and knit my heart out. We also have some plans, of course, in terms of skiing and hiking and doing things, and I want to do a big shop because I need to do some shopping for my new job, for my new office that I'm going to be somewhat improving my current. Well, right now this is my craft room / office, but it's going to be more of an office, so I need to take care of that. And then there's obviously a few things like getting new glasses, going to IKEA, like getting a haircut, all these things that somehow I never manage while working. So I have written myself a list of things that I want to do between jobs, so we'll see how much of that I will actually do, but well, we'll just see about that. Anyways, we will be spending New Year's Eve down there, but I am planning to podcast before then. I have no idea if any of that was interesting to you guys, but there you go. In terms of knitting plans, do you have any knitting plans for 2018? I feel like very, very late in the year, 2017 has become my year of color work. 2016 was definitely my year of brioche. I learned how to knit brioche and did quite a lot of that last year, and then this year, 2017, for most of the year, I think because I was working full-time, I knit a lot of really, really boring vanilla stuff, which I'm surprised you still watch my podcast because I don't think it's very interesting. But as you know, I have kind of fallen in love with color work. So my biggest plan for 2018, possibly even like very, very soon, is my first ever colorwork sweater. That's definitely my biggest plan of what I want to achieve, and just generally knit way more colorwork because I find it a really fun technique to use, and I feel like it just broadens my knitting horizon even more. So that's definitely my next plan. Also, and that's something I've already started doing, is I want to be knitting more wearable sweaters and choose really carefully of like what am I going to be wearing on a daily basis. Like for example, this sweater is something that I wouldn't have knit in the past because it is very neutral, but it's actually perfect because for work I need stuff that actually works for work, for lack of a better word. So I'm definitely planning on being sort of more conscious about that. So talking about that, if you have any pattern ideas for, air quotes, businessy sweaters and cardigans, just like knitwear that doesn't necessarily scream like handmade, but is actually suitable for the office, please let me know because I'm really interested. I am planning to knit a couple more pavement sweaters because I think they are really wearable, and you could even wear like a button-up shirt underneath, and possibly something like featherweight, like just simple cardigans that you can wear in somewhat neutral colors. And yeah, but if you have any ideas for business-worthy knitwear, please do let me know because I feel like that's something I'm lacking, or in other words, I'm really sad that a lot of my knitwear only gets worn like in the evenings or on weekends, so I do want to change that. So anyways, I feel like I'm just going on and on and on, and I'm going to be going on for a while because I'm recording another video straight after this one. But that will be a different video, so you will see that when it pops up, probably in the next couple of days as well. So you will probably see me again just before New Year's Eve. I'm planning to record another podcast. I'm also definitely planning to be more active on Instagram. So if you want to see what I'm up to, please do join me over there. I promise I'll be better. I do want to keep some sort of like, maybe do some more stories or Instagram stories when we're traveling. And I'm really looking forward to being a bit more present on social media again. So I think I'll end this with a big, huge, massive thank you to you guys for sticking with me, supporting me, watching this podcast, and sharing your knitting with me. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. Have a wonderful Christmas and have a lot of fun time with your family. Happy knitting, and I will see you soon. Bye.